Hi everybody, I'm the Idea Maker, and today I'm going to be doing a video that's different from my reaction videos that I've been doing. So, yes, I've been doing movie reactions and TV show reactions and trailer reactions, but I really want to do something different. Yesterday was a very, very important day for me, a very important day for my family, because yesterday we went to go see Unsung Hero, which I will I want to say, and I have no words on how beautiful this movie really, really is, and it really emotionally shook me to the core, where I actually broke down crying several times in this movie because there's a lot of things that it reminded me of from my family's family history, and even some things that we're kind of going through now in some ways. And this was such an experience that you guys would have to really, really experience. And I want to break down what Unsung Hero is. So Unsung Hero is the true story about the Smallbone family who came from Australia and came to the United States. By the time that they got to the U.S., their father David, he was working in music, and he was losing money over in Australia, and then he had a job over in the United States. And by the time that they got to the United States, by the time that the family got to the United States, the job fell through. So they had very little money, close to nothing. They had to sleep on the floor on their clothes, and it was just one of the most heart-wrenching things that I ever saw. And the fact that his wife was actually pregnant with their seventh child. Yeah, I'm not joking. They had 6 kids at the time, and she was pregnant with the seventh. And she had to give birth in the U.S. And this movie just really, really, it really emotionally got me for so many reasons. And one of the main reasons why this movie it means so much to me is because of the way that I ended up discovering this movie. And I'm going to give a little brief history about how I ended up finding out about this movie, which trails all the way back to 2015. My mom was listening in the car from her on her way to work or on her way back from work, and she heard this song on the radio, and this ended up becoming my favorite song from this band, For King and Country. If you guys have not listened to them at all, please do so, because these guys are incredibly talented artists, and they have this God-given gift that really, really captivates the beauty of who God really is. And not only do they do songs that they praise him, but they do songs that they even show up more of their sides toward their loved ones, towards their spouses, towards their family. And that's what this movie really is about. Is about family. But to get back to my story, my mom showed my family and I this song. It's called Shoulders. If you guys haven't listened to it, take the time to listen to it. I'll leave the link for it in the description below, so you guys could get to listen to the song. And from there, I ended up listening to them a lot. I ended up listening to them throughout all of my high school years, and by the time that I hit going to the university to major in software engineering, they came out with another album, which was called Burn the Ships. I recommend listening to that one too. So that was my soundtrack. That was my album that I would listen to all the way from my house to the university and back. even during passing periods or lunch. And it really, really got a hold of me, and it really spoke to me, knowing that God really spoke to me through the words that were being said, through the lyrics that were being said, the message that was being said. And from there, it really emotionally drove me more to developing this relationship that I had, and that I still currently have with God, and that where I'm at today. And it drove me to having a stronger relationship between me and my family. Back in 2019, January the 16th of 2019, my grandmother, she went to the hospital because she was having to get surgery, an emergency surgery. She was on the waiting list to be a kidney and liver transplant patient, and she didn't want to go through the dialysis treatments. She was instead going through paracentesis treatments, which is where, at that time, she would go once every 2 weeks, and there would be water and fluid built up in her stomach area, and that was because her kidneys weren't working and her liver wasn't working as well anymore. And at one point, because the procedure, what they do is that they get this huge needle and they stick it into her stomach and to drain all that fluid out, and she would go once every 2 weeks. At one point, the doctor went, and when he was doing the procedure, he pierced her small intestine. And the next day, she had to go for colonoscopy. When she did, she had her colon pierced as well within 24 hours. So she had her emergency surgery about a week later after she was feeling this discomfort, and the doctors went and they saved her life. But at that time, when they saved her life, having 4 surgeries simultaneously, she had to go on dialysis from that time. She stayed in the hospital for about a little over a month, and it was one of the scariest experiences that I've experienced, that she's experienced, that my family's experienced. And it got me to listen to For King of Country's music more. It got me to strengthen my characteristics, my character, my relationship with God and with my family, because God saved her life. From there on, from what we were told, is that with my grandma being on dialysis, she would have to be on dialysis for a while, for the rest of her life, and the doctor gave her 3 to 5 years. My grandma's currently alive, and it's April 26, 2024. So it's past the 5 years. And it just really speaks to me, knowing that she's still here. And it just really, really emotionally drove me. This movie drove me. And to the point that I really wanted to know more about these guys, their story, and what their songs meant, what really drove them to write it. And there's some references in this movie as well that you'll pick up if you're a For King Country fan, and if you're a Rebecca St. James fan. You are going to pick up these references from their albums and from their songs throughout this movie, because I really picked them up and it blew me away. But continuing to my story on how I discovered For King Country, Fast forward later on, it was during 2020 they announced their Christmas album. When they announced their Christmas album, I was really excited, and I later found out in that year in 2020, during when COVID was happening, that they were going to have a live stream concert from Nashville, Tennessee. And one of the biggest benefits that you can get from this VIP package that they had for the tour was getting to virtually talk to them through Zoom. So I got to talk to him virtually through Zoom, and my mom and I did. And what a life-changing experience it was for me, because of the fact that I was able to get to tell them this story, this one that I'm telling you guys here. I remember the first words that Joel said to me. By the way, if you guys don't know about Forgetting Country, it's Joel and Luke Smallbone, by the way. So, I was wearing my Santa hat. It was November the 29th of 2020. We had the house decorated for Christmas. His first word that he told me was, "Oh, hey, look, it's Santa and Mrs. Claus." And we got to talking, and he asked where we were from, how we're doing. I told them the story. I told them about how their music has really inspired me getting through high school and through going through the university and majoring in software engineering. They were really proud that I was going through this. And what really, really loved these guys more was the fact that I told them my favorite song from them was Shoulders, because that was what got me to knowing who they are. From there, they told me on the spot they would integrate that song into their set list, which they didn't really plan on it at that time. And you will not believe it, but ever since then, they integrated that song into their tours now, into their Christmas tours. I even in their other tours that they've had for Burn the Ships and What Are We Waiting For, from what I found out from their Instagram and from their social media, that they actually did so. And it just really blew my mind that they did so. And not only did they do that, but they told us they would pray for her, for my grandmother to be healed. And that meant so much out of me. During that live stream concert, that same night later on, I got to hear their rendition of Shoulders, and I broke down. Like, you cannot believe it. It was such a beautiful, beautiful thing to happen. And I will never, ever forget that day. From there, fast forward to 2022. They released their album, What Are We Waiting For? Several days after my birthday in March. And I was about a year away from graduating. And their album became the album for my graduation. And it really emotionally shook me to the core that they actually made music that it really, really resonated with me. My other favorite song from them is Benediction. If you guys haven't listened to that either, please take a listen to it. From there, when I found out they were doing a movie about their lives, about how their family came to the US and that they were really going to show everyone what it was like for them growing up before they ended up becoming these famous Christian artists, before their sister Rebecca became this successful Christian artist as well, and then the enduring hardships they faced. I knew I had to support them in going to see this movie. It was interesting too because in 2023 they re-released their album to expand it. Their album, What Are We Waiting For? In 2023, I graduated as a software with a bachelor's of science in software engineering, and at the time being, I'm currently not working as an engineer, but I am working, and I'm making it my goal and my mission to keep trying to become an engineer. And when they released their soundtrack for Unsung Hero, I was going through some tough times, and it really helped me to get through. So these guys have been around. I grew up listening to their music for 9 years now, heading into 9 years in May. And it's such an extraordinary journey that I had to review this movie. I had to give my backstory as to the reason why I ended up discovering them. So, on to the actual review itself. Unsung Hero is such a beautiful, beautiful movie about the importance of family. And the message that I took away from it, especially, there's one line in it that it's that David's father tells him, and he says, "Don't think that family is not in the way. They are the way." And it's so true because a lot of times when we're not in the position that we want to be in, sometimes we're just going to think that maybe it's because of the people that we're around. Maybe that family is going to be bringing us down for whatever reason. But no, that is not the case. It's never the case. And I can go ahead and vouch for that. I have multiple reasons to say that why family is the way. I have multiple reasons. One example being that I live with my mom and my grandparents. Reason why is because that my mom has been a single parent ever since I was born. Realistically, I don't know my father. I've seen what he looks like, but I've never really met him. And it's okay. Ever since I was a kid, I've always said God was my father, and I was always okay with that, and he still is. My grandparents helped to step in. My grandmother raised me while my mom went to go work. She used to go and travel 2 hours from our house to where she worked and back for a while. That's 4 hours of driving. The lengths that a parent can go and will go for their family. They have been there for me every step of the way. And I'm here helping to take care of them. My mom's getting older. My grandparents are getting older. I'm at the age where I'm working. I have my job out there. I have my YouTube job here. I'm applying for jobs to become an engineer. I'm studying my engineering concepts. I'm reading books to keep myself going. I'm doing projects. My life right now is surrounded by these things, but the thing is that I'm getting through it because first it's God. that's given me the strength to get through this. But it's also family that is helping me to get through this. Now, sometimes I know that probably people will think that family is not that important. But you're absolutely wrong in every sense of that statement, of that family is not important. They definitely are. Let me give you an example. In the movie, they show that when the Smallbone family came to their house that was prompted for them, that was ready for them, they had no furniture. And it was just them lying down on the floor and using their clothes as their mattresses. Reminds me of a story that my grandma is letting me tell. Thank you, Grandma, for letting me tell this story and letting me tell your story and my grandpa's story for this review. And thank you, Mom, for letting me tell your story about what you had to go through just to help me out. When my grandma and grandpa got married, their first house actually was a very small place. The fact that they didn't even have a floor in their first house, and it was just dirt. And now, thus where we're at now, we're living in a gray home with a beautiful floor, beautiful carpet. It goes to show that family really is important no matter what you do and no matter what kind of directions you want to go in. Family's going to back you up no matter what. When I started doing these YouTube reactions, they supported me on this. And I'm going to take this journey the way that God wants me to take it. And there's so many things in this movie that really, really got me. Another example of that family is important is that when they got to the U.S., they landed in L.A. and they had to go through customs because they were staying there for a while. They kept them there for too long to the point that they missed their flight from L.A. to Tennessee, to Nashville. And customs wanted to keep them there. And it was just hard to watch. But what saved their life was the wife's note that she had from her mother that said that they were staying there for 6 months. It was a miracle from God. It was a miracle that they had that note. How can you not say that there are no such thing? How can you say that there are no miracles whatsoever? Because if that letter was not in there, they wouldn't have been here. They would have probably had a different story to tell. It was meant to be there. This means a lot to me because of the fact that at some moments your father David had his pride hurt because of so many things happening. And it was to the point that the family was suffering for several months. And he just had to give God the chance to move. He had to give his family the chance to let miracles move. Regardless of if you believe in God or not, let good things happen. Let them happen. Believe that they're going to happen. You might not believe that they're going to happen now, but they are going to happen. I know that it's such a tough thing to go through, especially because there's so many bad things that happen, especially right now. But what we need is family. What we need to do is be more together, to pray together, to live together, laugh together, love together, be together. Family is the glue that holds things together. If we do not hold on to them, then we're going to have nothing left. Just keep that in mind. At one point later on down the road, what really struck me too was what struck me was that David's father later passes, and he left off. David started getting more bitter because of the bad things that were happening, and he kind of left things off on a bad note. And when his father passed, he knew that he could not be able to get that time back. I know that sometimes it's hard. It's really, really tough. Especially if we feel like if our pride has gotten damaged in some way. And that sometimes we feel like failures because that we didn't do the things that we wanted to do and they were achieved a different way. But it's time that we start thinking, instead of thinking along the lines of, I can't believe that I got here, but not the way that I intended. We should start thinking along the lines of, we got here because of less letting God work. And again, sometimes when good things come to us, sometimes they're not going to come out the way that we expect. Sometimes the way how we get things is not going to come the way that we want them. Maybe it'll come in a different way. But honestly, in my opinion, when you get something that's unexpected and it comes out of nowhere and it's the deepest desires of your heart, and you get that chance to be able to get that opportunity, but it's in the least way expected, to me, that's the best way to get something that you want. Whether if it's you're trying to find the best job, the best love of your life, the best situation, the best schools, the best major, the best direction to take in the rest of your life. Don't always think that you can do things on your own, because sometimes, actually, all the time, when you do something by yourself, yeah, it could be an amazing feeling like you achieved something good for yourself. But don't always think that just because you didn't achieve something by yourself doesn't mean that you didn't achieve nothing. If you need the help, whether it's from your family, most importantly, whether if it's from friends or others who care about you, Don't think that just because that they helped you doesn't mean that you didn't achieve something by yourself. It just means that you achieved something and you had people to back you up and support you, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. So don't ever think that just because that you didn't achieve something by yourself doesn't mean that you're a failure. You're not a failure. You will never be a failure to your family's eyes. You will never be a failure, most importantly, to God's eyes. You will never be a failure to your friends, the true ones that are sticking by you. And you will importantly, you will never be a failure to yourself. Unsung Hero has so many messages in this that really, really drove me home. I cried about 4 times in this movie. More than any other movie that I have before. Because this really hit me so hard. From the point that they took up odd jobs on mowing lawns, to David and some of the kids working for a producer, be it like cleaning the house and maintaining everything, and the fact that they didn't even have a car when they got to the US. And they went to church, and this wonderful couple helped them to get up on their feet and be able to keep on going. Those are the people that God puts in your lives that are there for you. And you need to take that opportunity and hold it close to you, no matter what. Unsung Hero is such a beautiful, beautiful family drama that I definitely give it 100 out of 10. Even 1,000,000 out of 10. This story not only tells about family, but it also tells about the beginnings of Christian artist Rebecca St. James. And I'm just going to put this idea out there, but Joel, Luke, if you guys are actually watching this review, if I can make the suggestion that you guys make a second movie of where it's a sequel to Unsung Hero, but it's where you guys started and how you guys ended up becoming the most amazing and inspirational artists that you guys are today, I would so want for you guys to do so. And Rebecca, if you're also watching this, I just want to say that your fierceness and your determination on wanting to become the artist that you are today is just so beautiful. And for the whole Small Bone family, I just want to let you guys know from the bottom of my heart, your story really inspired me to really keep fiercely driving towards being an engineer that I am praying to God that I become. It doesn't matter if I'm working in software engineering or full stack or web development. I'm still going to keep going after that. I also want to give a little bit of footage right around here of when Joel and Luke were doing their press tour of Unsung Hero at different churches around the US. I attended a specific one, and I was there seeing them perform. In this footage right here, I was over at the Saddleback Church over in Lake Forest, which was also a place that I interned at. I was a web developer intern, and I got to be able to meet some of the most amazing people, and coming back there at that service felt like home. And next thing I knew, my mom and I were at the front row of that church, and we were about 5 feet away from them, and getting to see them perform, and getting to talk about their movie, getting to show us some footage of it. At that time, it was a brand new trailer that didn't release to the public until about a week later, or about a week or 2 weeks later. And what an amazing moment that was. I can never, ever forget that moment. It's very also important to know really quick that not only is today what they call Family Day, April 26th, they're calling Family Day, but this is also Joel and Luke's parents' 49th wedding anniversary, and I just want to give a huge, huge shout out and a happy anniversary to Helen and David Smallbone. You guys have really, really brought the best kids to this world. God gave us a gift from you guys. And I want you guys to know that you guys really made an amazing achievement. A beautiful, beautiful family. Creative, inspirational, talented, motivational, moving. I have so many words. And the day that I saw this movie with my family, it also marked a very special occasion. I know that I mentioned that in the beginning of this review, but I'm going to mention it here too. April 25th actually is my anniversary of when I graduated from university with my Bachelor's of Science in Software Engineering. So seeing it yesterday was a full circle, and seeing it yesterday was a big treat for my family and I. So that's how we celebrated, was with Unsung Hero. I also want to give a big shout out too for the soundtrack as well. It has amazing, amazing songs that I listen to. I've been listening to on the way from my house to work, with them doing collaborations with their sister Rebecca, with the Joel and Luke doing collaborations with Rebecca, with Lecrae, with Christian hard rock group Striper, with Amy Grant, with Michael W. Smith, with Hillary Scott, with Lee Bryce. Man, there's so many of them that it's just undeniable on how gifted you guys are, and how gifted your family is, and how beautiful this movie is, that I cannot wait for people to go and experience. This is a once in a lifetime chance where people will come to see this movie and they're going to feel inspired and blessed by this beautiful, beautiful story that it really, really emotionally shook me. And I am so, so grateful that my family and I got the chance on seeing this beautiful, faithful story about family, the importance of family, and the importance of believing that God really makes miracles. It's just such an amazing thing that that my family and I got to experience. And what's amazing too is that my grandma had dialysis on that day, and she wanted to go and see that movie. She didn't even want to go and rest. She wanted not to rest at home. She wanted to rest going to see this movie, and I congratulate her for this because she's one strong person. One strong person that I just admire so much and I love so much. So I want to say this to kind of close it off a little. Love your family. Like, let them know that you love them. Let them know that you're still out there caring about them. If you're not living with them, even if they're not there with you, let them know that you care for them and you love them. If you're married, if you're in a relationship, if you have children, if your parents are still around, let them know that you love them and let them know that you care about them. And understand God loves you for you. Despite your mistakes or your sins or the failures that you feel like you've had or the failure that you think you might be, just know that in God's eyes, in your family's eyes, the people that care about you in their eyes, you're no failure. Never have been, never will be. You're here in this world for a reason. Sometimes you might not even just know what it is yet. But I have faith that you will know what exactly that feeling and what that purpose is. I know what my purpose is to become an engineer. And to be able to try to use YouTube as a platform to help people brighten their days. To bring some joy that hopefully God can use me to help inspire some people. And when I become an engineer, that God can use me to inspire other people to try to do the same thing and become an engineer. Because I want to be like the greatest engineer of all, like him. And another reason too that I wanted to become an engineer was also because of my grandmother. My grandma was actually an inspector. She used to inspect black boxes for planes. She used to inspect motherboards back in the earlier days when she had 4 kids of her own. And the odd jobs that David and the kids they went through, it was emotionally floored me because my grandma had to do stuff like that too. She had to work several jobs at the exact same time just to support 4 kids. And then my mom having to drive far to work and back while my grandma stayed to take care of me because my mom was a single parent. Still is. But it's okay. We got each other. There's nothing wrong with that. And thank God that my grandma's still alive. And she's still alive because I helped take care of her. My mom and I helped take care of her. My grandma has type 1 diabetes, kidney failure, liver failure, heart problem, thyroid problems. So I help her with her insulin, to give her insulin, to check her blood sugar levels, to check her pressure at times. I help her with helping her to walk better, so to help kind of give her some physical therapy. I do so much for her. And my mom does so much for her too. My mom and I take my grandmother to dialysis. We take turns, especially if my mom's not feeling great or she's not feeling that good to go. I step in and I help as well. And when our situations they conflict, we work things out so that way we can do the best that we can to help her out. And that's what really made me love this movie more. So I want to be able to really, really get to express my gratitude about it. And I also want to thank a very special person, actually. So yesterday I did an Instagram post about this movie, about that I went to an early screening of it yesterday. And when I woke up this morning, one of the producers, Josh Walsh, he actually hearted my tweet and he liked it, my post, and he liked it on Instagram. So I want to give a big thank you to him for seeing it and getting to see that I really, really loved it. And now I'm doing this review, and I hope that more people will get to like this review and get to be inspired to go see Unsung Hero in theaters, which is out now on Family Day all over the US. And I hope you guys can get this chance to go and see it. I'm telling you, this movie will change your life. But I do want to thank you guys again for listening to my story, listening for this review. The acting was incredible. Joel, you did an incredible job portraying your father. And I want to give a special shout out to the other different actors who were in this movie. I want to give a huge shout outs, especially to so many of to these actors in this movie, especially with Daisy Betts as Helen, and Lucas Black, Candace Cameron Bure, Terry O'Quinn, Jonathan Jackson, Hilary Scott, and even with the Smallbone family making cameos in this movie. I just want to say you guys were amazing in this movie. The soundtrack for this movie is also out too. I hope you guys can definitely take a listen to it because it is so beautiful and so inspirational. And I'm telling you, it will change your life in the best way possible. It will give you a new perspective on how to look at things. It was just so amazing. I cannot express that enough. So I want to say thank you guys for listening to my story again and to listening to this review. Hopefully this will inspire you to get to check out Unsung Hero, which is in theaters now. If you guys will also want to, you guys can check out the soundtrack for Unsung Hero, and then you guys can check that out, which is streaming on different different music streaming platforms right about now. I'm definitely buying this movie. Definitely going to be watching it again. I'm going to be doing a reaction video on Unsung Hero as well. Just because I want to appreciate this movie. I want for the word to be spread about this movie. And it's done such a great job. And you guys all did such a great job in making this beautiful, beautiful movie that's so moving. So I definitely thank you guys for giving us this beautiful, beautiful movie that I'm going to definitely be watching a lot more once it comes out onto digital, onto Blu-ray. I'm going to be getting all of those when it comes out. But again, I want to thank you guys again for getting to check this review out for Unsung Hero. Go buy tickets for it. Please do. I'm going to be saying it a lot, but please do. You guys will not be disappointed. If you guys love this review and you guys want to check out more of my videos, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And on top of it, if you guys want to go and follow me on any of my social media, I have Snapchat, I have Instagram, I have Twitter, aka X, I have Discord on my Discord server, and I also have TikTok. Thank you guys again for getting to stay and listen to my review and my stories that helped impact this review to make it as heartful, as as genuine and as real as possible. So I thank you guys again for watching. Without further ado, thank you guys again. God bless you all, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.